And welcome to another edition of Hey Bobby. Ray Horner, your host, Bobby DiBiasio, Vice President with the Cleveland Indians, with us here on WAKR, brought to you by NECA-IBEW. And Bobby, I wanted to start with the play of the team on the field. I mean, you and I talked a couple of weeks ago how that stretch with the White Sox, Yankees, Twins, White Sox, Royals was going to be really difficult at this stage of the season. But man, since that Sunday afternoon game against the Yankees, when we were down and came back, take 2 out of 3 against the Twins, 2 out of 3 in Chicago, and now we get off to a nice start in Kansas City. The team playing very good baseball, I think, anchored by 3 guys in the bullpen. Shaw and Karinchak and Clase have been lights out. But talk about this stretch, my friend.
Well, you're absolutely right. The back end of that bullpen has just been electric for us. And, Tito talked about it in spring training where, when he says things like, our bullpen has a chance to be sneaky good this year. He knew what he had back there. And you add a number of you had Nick Whitgren, veteran, to that group, and then some young live arms. Our bullpen's going to be strong for a while. As you said, we have a nice stretch going. I'm even going to take you back a little bit to April 12th, where I really identified on our calendar. You start on April 12th and you take the calendar to May 9 and see how the youngest team in the American League was going to handle a 25-game stretch that included 8 against the White Sox, 6 against Cincinnati, 4 against Kansas City, 4 against the Yankees, 3 against the Twins. Right now, we're 9-10 in that stretch of 25, but of late, we've come on because our offense has come on. Last night, you tip your hat to the offense of the Cleveland Indians to get that victory. I also like it, Ray, when a guy like Karinchak, gives up the first runs of the season and it doesn't cost us anything. It didn't cost us a game where normally, at that stage late in the game, you give up a 2-run homer, you're probably not going to win. And we were able to get a win when he gave up the first runs of the season for him. So our bullpen's pretty darn good.
To say the least. Hey, this alternate site, we've seen some of the guys come in there in the last week. We saw Daniel Johnson the other day. We saw Harold Ramirez, who actually had a pretty good night at the plate last night, come in from the alternate site. I don't think a lot of the fans understand exactly what that is right now. And I thought maybe in a nutshell, you could summarize that for them.
Well, it's only happening for one more day. Minor League Baseball gets rolling tomorrow. The Rubber Ducks are in action tomorrow. Clippers in action. The Hillcats, the captains, everybody in minor league baseball gets going. And the alternate site in Columbus has been wonderful because our guys have had an opportunity to play other competition. They just didn't play inter-squad games day after day after day, which was the case in 2020 during the pandemic out in Lake County, that they just faced each other every day, and trying to figure out how do you keep a bounce to your step as an athlete when you're just going out there against your teammates day after day after day after day. And our guys were able to get 50, 60, maybe even upwards of 70 at bats against other ball clubs, the Reds, the Pirates, the Royals, teams from that part of Central Ohio and Indiana, and that they were extremely excited about what they were able to do with playing other competition. And so now they're obviously chomping at the bit to get a baseball season going and traveling and being together and get that that competitive spirit flowing that they've been missing for so long.
You,
Especially, think about it, Ray, especially those kids who didn't play last year.
yeah.
Trying to go to a local park or play catch in your backyard or build a mound or a batting cage in your garage or your backyard and stay strong and active. Now they get to play baseball again. That's got to be a wonderful feeling for those kids.
Yeah, and Bobby, we open up with the Rubber Ducks in Akron this week. 600 days since the Rubber Ducks played their last baseball game. And I know recently, in the last couple of months, they signed that 10-year agreement with the Cleveland Indians to continue to working with them. And I know that's big for you. It's big for all of us to see our guys come up through the system and such.
Well, absolutely. Ken does a phenomenal job with the Rubber Ducks. Very excited to be partners for the next 10 years. And I think the fans of this area, really cherish the fact that, they're a Cleveland Indians affiliate. Really means a whole lot. Means something special to the fans of the area. So Tyler Freeman at short, Bo Naylor at behind the plate. I think those are the two big names maybe that people will keep an eye on as the Rubber Ducks get rolling.
You're exactly right. With us is Bobby DiBiasio, Vice President with the Cleveland Indians. Another edition of Hey Bobby, brought to you by NECA-IBEW. Another component, folks, of putting this team, this roster together is the international scouting that the Dolan family is heavily invested in, of going outside the country and building academies and looking for prospects. And I'll let Bobby expand, but I know that's where they found Jose Ramirez, for example, who has been so instrumental for us. But Bobby, talk about this component of the Cleveland Indians organization.
Well, every team in baseball has an academy in the Dominican Republic to take advantage of that part of the world that is just so baseball rich. It's in the DNA of that part of the world, and some of the greatest players to ever play Major League Baseball came out of there. And for the Cleveland Indians, just a few names, as you said, Jose Ramirez, but Julio Franco, who came from San Pedro de Macorís, which was at one time the absolute cradle of shortstops in Major League Baseball. Carlos Santana, Bartolo Colon. Manny Ramirez was born there, but went to high school in the Bronx. But obviously, baseball rich. And so we decided back in 2016, our baseball operations people went to Paul and talked about how we needed to upgrade our facility in the Dominican. And as the plans started to be put in place, we really thought, let's do this right. And it's a $10 million investment into the economy of the Dominican Republic to build what we believe, and I would say that everybody in the game of baseball believes, that we have the absolute best state-of-the-art facility. Sits on 22 acres in San Antonio de Guerra, which is just east of Santo Domingo in the Dominican. It's got two big fields, a small infield. One of the fields is the exact dimensions of Progressive Field. It's got the batting cages and the strength and conditioning. But one of the things that it has as well, which Paul had asked our baseball guys to make sure, it's got classrooms. We want these young men, because we'll get them as early as the age of 16, 17 years old. We want to make sure they're better men when they leave us than when they joined us. And that means getting them their high school education, putting them through the cultural assimilation program so that when they do get to the United States, it's not this huge shock that it used to be for kids from a different country coming and all of a sudden playing in a small town. Ray, I'll never forget the story Maniac that told about one of the greatest advances for young Latin American kids was when Denny's put pictures on their menus that these young kids that go to Pocatello, Idaho, and they walk into a restaurant and they haven't learned English yet, and they're trying to figure things out, and they'd wait for a waitress to walk by the table to see what the food looked like, and they'd point to that food as what they were going to order. And then all of a sudden, Denny's put pictures on the menu so they could point to what they wanted as they were trying to learn the English language. Now that's part of the daily process in the Dominican Academy. We have the Wi-Fi and all the cubicles and laptops and all the things necessary to help a young man become a better person, more well-rounded human being. 120 athletes, 88 get to sleep there, which is pretty remarkable for some whose living conditions aren't really wonderful. And all of a sudden now they have, our chefs cooking the meals. We teach them nutrition. Um, we teach them mental skills training, obviously, the strength and conditioning. We have the medical services that we provide all of our athletes. It really is a benefit to our franchise without question.
From top to bottom. Bobby DiBiasio with us with Hey Bobby, brought to you by NECA-IBEW. And you mentioned kids, Bobby. I wanted to go back in time to when I was a youngster. One of my first favorite players with the Tribe was one Buddy Bell. I remember his rookie year, he came up, the blonde locks going, and came up as an outfielder, and they eventually moved him to third base. And I couldn't get enough of Buddy Bell. Matter of fact, when I was in Little League, I tried to bat like Buddy Bell. I know you do the Akron Roundtable, and you have many discussions with Buddy through the years. And I thought I'm probably not unique in that Buddy Bell was my favorite player growing up with the Cleveland Indians. Talk about Buddy Bell. Where is he now? Is he still with the Reds, or is he in baseball or out?
No, he's still with the Reds organization in their front office, and the first family of baseball in Cincinnati with his father Gus and his boys being involved in Major League Baseball. His son manages the Cincinnati Reds, of course. David, sadly, his other son Michael recently passed away, and that broke the hearts of so many in the game of baseball, as that family is beloved. You know, um, as I said, the first family of baseball in Cincinnati. If you ever gone to the original Montgomery Inn for some barbecue, um, they have a shrine to baseball, but it's mostly a shrine to the Bell family, who actually grew up down the street from the Montgomery Inn. I, like you, he played for us from what, 72 to 78, if I remember correctly. And um, I don't know if there was a guy that looked better in a baseball uniform than Buddy Bell. As you said, he had the blonde hair going, but just the way he wore that uniform, just how big he was. And felt bad for Toby Hara trying to replace a guy like Buddy Bell as a fan favorite. Chuck Hinton had to replace Rocky Colavito in right field, and Johnny Peralta had to replace Omar Vizquel at shortstop. So it happens, and Toby was stuck with that unfortunate task. But yeah, it's the first thing I think of when the name Buddy Bell um, pops up is, man, he looked good in the baseball uniform.
And he didn't get his just due for a while because he was a converted outfielder. He was a darn good fielding third baseman. I know he got a couple of Gold Gloves.
Absolutely. He was a Gold Glove third baseman, no question about it. Really had a wonderful career with Texas Rangers. And I remember sitting behind third base one time. My dad took me to the ballpark, and we're sitting behind the visiting dugout area, and he's playing right field, and the guy went from first to third on a single to right, and he threw one, and he airmailed it over our heads, and it was going by us like an absolute missile. And I'll just never forget how hard and the sound of that ball, thinking he threw that all the way from right field. And here at that time, I was a high school baseball player, and just thinking, oh my Lord. He just unleashed a throw and airmailed it into the seats, and it came in hot. And I was like, oh my goodness, obviously it's a different game.
Hey, Bobby, with Bobby DiBiasio, Vice President with the Cleveland Indians. Bobby, thanks again for taking time with us this week, and we'll reconvene next week, talk some more Indians baseball, and hopefully we keep up the hot stretch with our boys.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, always fun, Ray. And we salute the Rubber Ducks for get rolling tomorrow. That should be awfully fun for everybody in Akron. And good luck to Kenny and the group. And yeah, let's keep our hot string going and go try.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you, buddy. See you.
Perfect, my friend. Great job.
See you tomorrow.
You got it, man.
11:30.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Later.